Came back down a trail, was looking up, kind of turkey peeking, started walking back towards the corn, and that's when I engaged him. He went down the first shot. Statistics show that about every Taliban sniper takes down, it saves about 3 Marines' lives. So that's really, at the end of the day, that's what our job is all about. It's saving Marines' lives.
All right, folks, just a fascinating weapon in the war on terror, and of course our brave men and women who are overseas fighting for us. We're joined right now by former Marine Gunnery Sergeant Jack Coughlin and former Marine Staff Sergeant Jason Delgado, both former U.S. Marine snipers, and this great new book that is co-authored by Jack, and it's called Shock Factor, American Snipers in the War on Terror. There you see it right there on your screen. Gentlemen, welcome, and let me start with you, Jack. There's special significance to the title, which I didn't realize until I started reading it, what shock factor actually means and how it's such an asset to you in fighting that war.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah, basically what the shock factor is imagine you're a group of 5 insurgents walking down the street looking to do, pretty bad things. Your buddy in the back gets shot. You look around, you don't know what happened. Another guy goes down. You don't even hear the bullets being fired. You hide behind a car. Now you're wondering, I don't know where the bullets are coming from. They could be from behind me. So I get up and I run, only to get shot down. Why did I run from cover? Because I was shock factored. It's the shock that puts you in the moment and makes you lose all control of your thought.
Yeah, and that is amazing, and it is such an asset, as I said, in that statistic that every guy you take down saves three American lives. That's pretty fascinating stuff. And there's so many questions I want to ask both of you. Jason, I know that you're talked about and you're in the book quite prominently, and your childhood is described in there and what you went through and the war zone, quote unquote, that you lived in, and how this was just this was a wonderful way out for you, correct?
Yeah, this is this is not a lie. New York was a quite different place back when I was growing up. Drugs and a lot of crime were being committed. Truthfully speaking, the Marine Corps was definitely an experience to pull me out of what at that time was the norm, and I'm grateful for it every day. And I'm in a better place now. I'm more mature. But like I said, it definitely rough upbringing, and made my job a lot easier because I was expected. I was already used to atrocities. So.
Well, what made you go into what directed you towards becoming a sniper? It's
basically typical alpha male desires. It's always to be considered the cream of the crop, the best of the best. And when you join the Marine Corps, I mean that's all you hear. Marine snipers, #1, best snipers in the world. Marine Recon. They're awesome, MARSOC. It's the toughest of the tough. And you want to prove to yourself and to the world that you are that alpha male. You are deserving of the title,
Jack, snipers aren't talked about a lot. I mean, when we see these movies that are made and these heroic, rescues in SEAL Team 6, the whole thing. I mean, usually it's the guys walking through the, the water, or then raiding the place and shooting around the bend. But snipers, they're there. Every unit has them. I mean, every battle has them on our side. How does that work?
Yeah, they're from one end of the battlefield to the other, and their main mission is to protect the troops in front of them. So by saying that, they get in an overwatch position, they go out before where the troops are going to be, they saturate the areas, they take out key targets of opportunity, basically protecting the troops from deadly enemy fires.
I wonder though, in today's politically correct military and the rules of engagement, do you have carte blanche to, as you described earlier, you see a group of insurgents on their way to do something. Do you have the authority to shoot people who you think are bad, or you think are? I would hope you'd say yes. I think you'll say no, maybe. How do the rules of engagement affect a sniper?
I'll give you an answer, and then I'll let Jason pop in because I think he's got an interesting take on that also. It's hard to tell. I mean, the rules of engagement seem to change as the wind blows. They're never steady, they're never firm. If we just go by the Geneva Convention, that's no problem. We're good. But if they start tightening them up, and then change from day to day. You know, it's really hard to answer that question because of those circumstances.
No, yeah, Jason, how has it affected you?
I mean, we've asked this question in country to our JAG officers basically prior to any activity. So I mean, we're well informed. There is a difference between the average infantryman's ROEs and a sniper's ROEs. You know, first and foremost, we are one of the first observers of, you know, whatever activity it is we're reporting on. So it's our firsthand account of what's happening. And we have a SEO we work for or someone back in operation rooms basically giving us a thumbs up to react to certain situations. However, it is more on a case-to-case basis with snipers that vice, you know, the regular infantry.
Well, and you know, there's another fascinating aspect to this book, and I really recommend it. This is a thriller. It not only is it educational, but it's a thriller. And I'm going to leave this for the readers: sniper versus sniper. Targeting snipers on the other side, and you being targeted by snipers on the other side. That's a fascinating sidebar to this as well. So I really am thrilled to have you both here, and thank you, and best of luck with the book. Shock Factor: American Snipers in the War on Terror. Two heroes sitting right here, Jack Coughlin and former Marine Staff Sergeant Jason Delgado, and of course Jack is a former Marine Gunnery Sergeant. Welcome, and thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Steve.
All right, we'll be back with more of the Steve Malzberg Show after the break, but first, we're going to check in on the Louisiana Senate race with our Road to the Midterms update. It's coming up next on Newsmax Television.
Democrats are in a precarious position. They can't lose any seats November 4th, or there's a chance the GOP could take over the Senate, something that hasn't happened in close to a decade. In Louisiana, Republican Representative Bill Cassidy hopes to be the one to swing that balance of power his party's way. He's after Democratic Senator Mary Landrieu's seat, a seat she's held since 1997. It's a challenge that's most likely going to keep the country in flux for weeks. Political analysts predict this race is headed to a runoff. That's because the Pelican State doesn't hold single-party primaries. Instead, it's a free-for-all on Election Day. There are 9 candidates for the Senate on Louisiana's ballot. If one doesn't take more than 50% of the vote, the race goes to a runoff, which wouldn't be held until December 6th. Most of the candidates aren't a factor, but Republican Rob Maness is. The Tea Party is rallying around him. Real Clear Politics says that while support is definitely giving Maness a boost in the polls, it's also making a runoff more likely. However, that matchup probably would be between Cassidy and Landrieu, with Cassidy favored to win.